Hello there, kia ora. Elections can sometimes feel a little overwhelming, and unlike general elections, local body elections can feel like there's a million people out there after a billion roles that you've never really paid attention to. So today we're going to go through what the list of specific roles are that you can vote for in this local election to see what the role involves. So, you can sit there and decide who your vote should go to because you feel that they're the best person suited for that particular job. And where you live, well, that's going to dictate the type of councils that you can vote on. And there's regional councils, which cover large regions and focus on the environment. There's city councils, which cover 11 cities. There's district councils, which cover both urban and rural communities, and something called a unitary authority, which combine regional council duties and territorial authority duties. Auckland is actually one of those. So let's look at what the jobs are that you can vote for. You know what? We should start at the top. Let's look at the mayor. A mayor's job is to set policy direction for the council and represent the community, and it's part functional, part ceremonial. It's like a civic duty cyborg. They set policy agenda by setting up the committees that will work through council business and who will be on those committees and who chairs them. They run council meetings, they keep order and make sure that the machinery keeps ticking over. But they also represent the community on the national stage. They support and celebrate their local communities in a number of ways and liaise with central government to make sure that the concerns and needs of their communities are heard in Wellington. Oh, and they also get, a fancy robe and bling. Councillors are there, though, to be a voice for their community specifically at the decision making table. They advocate for the needs and wants of their communities, and they sort of act as advocates for them and make decisions on their behalf. They're often involved in a range of community organisations as part of their role and can help set policy direction within the council. They've also been known to represent the council in official matters on a national scale and to work to create connections among communities and the council. There are actually two types of councillor. One is a city or district councillor, your territorial authority, and one is a regional council. And the roles are pretty similar in that the duties are very, very similar, but the focus on the councils themselves are different, as I said before. And the physical areas that they cover, they're also really different. If you're in Tauranga, the Bay of Plenty Regional Council is actually all you get to vote on this year since you had your local elections last year. Then there are boards. And again, it's different depending on where you are. If you're in Tamaki Makaurau, you can vote for local boards. These are community-based boards that act as a conduit between their communities and the governing body of council. They come up with plans for the area, suggest bylaws based on the needs of the community, and are in charge of events on a local level, like movies and parks. They set fees for local council-provided services and work with the governing body on how their decisions impact local communities. A community board, which are found outside of Auckland, are advocacy groups for the local community and are there to bring their concerns and work with local councils. But the decisions that they are allowed to make are limited by the council that they're part of. So it's actually different for each area. And finally, there's something called the Alcohol Licensing Trusts. These are private organisations run by elected members who make decisions about where alcohol can be sold, like liquor stores or the local pub, and where the profits of the trust are going to be distributed, which might be a community grant or a sports club sponsorship, something along those lines. For these in particular, you have to live in the area that's covered by the trust, and you can't be involved directly with the alcohol industry, which, makes sense. But for every one of those other roles, the councillors, the mayors, the local boards, community boards, well, you don't have to technically live in the area covered by the organisation to run in them, but you do have to declare if you do or not. Then it's up to the voters to decide if that's a concern for them. In terms of jobs, that's what's going to be on your ballot forms, and it's up to you as voters to decide if one of these candidates that are running is the one that you feel best suits what the role is and what you want to achieve in that role. Remember, the election is a postal ballot, so you can't leave it to the last minute to do the mahi and find out about the candidates. The more you know about who's running and what they stand for, the better you can choose who best represents what you want in your councils. Hey, thanks for checking out today's video. Make sure you like, share, subscribe so you get more updates as we go along. We deal with these guys for the rest of the year.